and welcome to Northwest Indian News. Today's episode comes to you from the Hebold Cultural Center and Natural History Preserve. I'm Carissa Peapud Ramsey, a Tulalip tribal member. In 1999, Joe "the Boss" Hip became the first Native American to win the World Boxing Federation's World Heavyweight title. Now retired from the ring, Joe is working hard to open his own gym to motivate and train a new generation of champions. NWIN's own Raven Speaker brings us the story.
As a boy, your friendly neighborhood Raven Speaker needed a lot of encouragement and inspiration. Anybody who was successful, if they were willing to talk to me, I was willing to talk to them. We caught up with former heavyweight champion of the world, Joe "the Boss" Hip, who has the same idea and is working with kids all over the Western Washington and the Pacific Northwest.
When I first started out, I won my first fight. My second fight, I had my jaw busted. And a lot of people said I wouldn't come back after that. But I got right back in the ring, started fighting again, and I won the next 18. With the guy I work with now, Chauncey Welliver, now he's rated number 6 in the world right now. When I was fighting, I met him when he was 12 years old. He came in to one of my fights. I signed autographs with him. I gave it to him, let him see some of my fights. We've been friends for then, and right then he wanted to be a fighter, you know, and now I train him.
I met Joe Hip first when I was a little kid. Well, not a little, I was always a big kid. When I was 12 years old, Joe Hip was my hero since I was a little kid. You know, Joe Hip was a native from the Northwest. He was in boxing. He was everything I wanted to be. Working with Joe, he's pushing me to my limits, and I'm eating it up. I'm doing everything he tells me when he tells me. Sometimes my body can't physically do the things, but I push myself as far as I can because it's easy. When you have your Superman telling you what to do, it's easy to try.
I'm the president of All Nation Foundation. What we do is we go around helping young kids. I do a lot of motivational speaking. We go to schools. We go to actually wherever we're invited to. You know, we'll go talk to anybody. My name is Joe Hip. Want to start a gym, not only just a boxing gym, but kind of a youth center for Native kids, and that's what we're working on right now. Come on, don't get tired on me. Got to finish strong. Finish strong. Come on, let's go. We have the building. Right now we're trying to just get equipment. That's the hard thing to do. The building I've kept for quite a while. You got to get rings and everything, flooring. There's a lot of stuff involved, but that's one of my goals that I won't give up on.
The All Nations Foundation that he works with, he does it from his heart with the kids. It's not an easy thing to do. I see Joe wake up early in the morning and go help kids. It's something he doesn't have to do. I look up to that.
I come out, my friends come out, and we talk to kids about goals in life. How are you going to do that? We show the belts that we've won. You know, most of these kids have never seen, a lot of people haven't seen what a heavyweight championship belt looks like. So we bring that out to the kids, let them hold it in hand and say, you know what, this is touchable. I can do this.
But I love this.
Later on, I am going to probably get back in the ring, make some money, put it back into the organization. You know, it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I just want to help the kids in any way I can.
You know, he wants to try and keep our communities drug-free, alcohol-free, and feel like they could go to a safe place. And I like being a part of something that's bigger than me and help kids structure their life. Not only does boxing show you some discipline, but it's able to have another family other than just being with your regular family, your school family, and then you have your boxing family, because it is like a family. Just to see all these people get excited and happy, and even kids say, you know, my mom and dad love you, and I recognize you from watching when I grew up and stuff like that, and that's really warming to my heart because, you know, there's not a lot of Native Americans out there that people recognize all the time, you know, and I get to be a part of, you know, a part of that, and it's really fun.
If anybody can do anything to help Joe Hip and his program, please do so, because it really is from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Joe Hip's heart, and if you can give anything from the bottom of your help, just to help, you know, just a helping hand, it would be very much appreciated.
The personal connection between a mentor and a young person can never be underestimated. We all owe a debt to people like Joe Hip for what they mean to us and for our kids. For Northwest Indian News, I'm your friendly neighborhood Raven speaker saying, Demalgik Nitzim.
When we return, we'll meet Billy Frank Jr. and learn about his lifelong mission to protect treaty rights.
We still live on and remember them days of protecting that salmon, protecting our treaty rights, protecting who we are, our culture, our way of life. And it hadn't been for my family right here, all of my family, and my kids. You can't do this. You can't get up every morning and do what you have to do.
Who says that all good things must come to an end? That nothing lasts forever? That you can't turn the tide for good? For us, protecting nature comes so naturally. We're the tribes in Western Washington, stewards, and have been for centuries to come.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in education. In Auburn, the Muckleshoot Tribe just opened a new state-of-the-art $40 million school for up to 500 students in grades K through 12.
The tribe has made an investment in the Muckleshoot people, not just into facilities, but into the people to gain an education.
We want our children to be able to succeed in life. We want them to be able to compete with anyone in the world and achieve whatever they need to in their lives.
If I stay on the res, I'll be 8 times less likely to drop out of college.
If I stay on the res,
I won't be just another number.
I can learn biology in my native language.
I can use my education to help my people.
If I stay on the res,
I'll be more likely to transfer to a university.
6 times more likely.
If I stay on the res,
there's a 9 in 10 chance I'll finish college.
And I will finish college.
I will learn about the old ways so my culture will live on.
I will make my parents proud.
I'll make my people proud.
Our history will not be forgotten.
If I stay on the res,
I can get a quality education.
At a tribal college.
At a tribal college.
If I stay on the res.
If I stay on the res.
If I stay on the res.
Learn more about the 33 tribal colleges and how they're helping Native American people and their reservations. The American Indian College Fund, educating the mind and spirit.
I'm going to stay on the res.
Welcome back to Northwest Indian News. In 1854, the Medicine Creek Treaty guaranteed Native Americans the right to hunt and fish in the usual and accustomed grounds of our ancestors. In the 1970s, Native Americans who accessed these rights risked arrest, ridicule, and violence. Billy Frank Jr. and many others fought regardless of the personal cost. Their efforts turned outrage into hope. NWIN's Wayne Messer has more.
In his younger days, Billy Frank Jr. was labeled an instigator and a criminal. Today, at the age of 81, he's viewed upon as the champion of salmon by all and a legend by his peers. Chairman of the Northwest Indian Fisheries Commission for over 30 years, Billy Frank Jr. continues to dedicate his life advocating for Pacific salmon and clean water. In 2012, the Legacy Project honored Billy Frank Jr. at a book release ceremony with a biography of his life entitled, Where the Salmon Run.
We still live on and remember them days of protecting that salmon, protecting our treaty rights, protecting who we are, our culture, our way of life. And it hadn't been for my family right here, all of my family, and my kids. You can't do this. You can't get up every morning and do what you have to do. You know, today is a great day. It's a day to be happy. We got a new book. Read it and enjoy it.
We have a legacy project in the Office of Secretary of State where we are working to capture the history, particularly the last half of the 20th century, in terms of major figures who had an impact on the politics of our state and the history of our state. We were very fortunate to talk Billy Frank Jr. into being one of the subjects because there are few stories as powerful as the one about Billy Frank Jr., the fishing wars, the treaties, and then what has happened subsequent to that in terms of getting people to work together to solve the problems of our fisheries.
He is an instrumental figure who's done so much and certainly changed the course of Washington history. But through his father and his grandfather, he also reaches way back in history. He's somebody who represents what it means to dedicate a life to something when the cause becomes bigger than you are.
He, in many ways, is the spirit of the fish, because how he goes back to Washington, D.C. and presents himself, not only for himself, but he does it nationally. He does it for the national, and it doesn't matter what color, Greek color you are out there, because he is protecting the rights of every human being.
And I remember Billy when I was in law school, when he was protesting on Indian fishing rights prior to the Bolt decision. And, you know, he was arrested, but he always handled himself with great dignity.
The first time I met Billy, you know what Billy asked me? Do you need a bail bondsman? And I, what? Why would I need a bail bondsman? Well, you never know. If you're going to be an Indian activist, you need a bail bondsman.
I read the book last week, and, you know, like I said, you know, it brought a tear to my eyes with some of the stuff. I mean, there's stuff in that book I didn't even know about my dad, and I learned it, you know, when I was reading it.
You have to dedicate a lifetime to what we're doing, to protecting the natural resource, protecting our culture and our way of life. And I look to all of our people for that, and they're there, you know, and there's great leaders that's been here before I ever came here, but we're carrying out and implementing what they started.
Billy Frank Jr. has gone the distance, shed all labels, and turned adversaries and allies by staying true to his path, protecting treaty rights and advancing salmon stewardship. For Northwest Indian News, I'm Wayne Messer.
Next, we'll learn about a growing effort to restore the traditional name of a Northwest landmark.
If we got together on the same page and accomplished the biggest peak in the lower 48 and had that name restored to a native name, what's to stop us?
That story and more on this episode of Northwest Indian News.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in jobs. Job-creating investments like the $350 million container terminal in Tacoma.
Puyallup Tribe through Marine View Ventures is partnering with SSA Marine to develop a 200-acre, 3-berth terminal, which at full build-out will be the largest terminal in the Pacific Northwest.
Tribal governments are investing in Washington's economy, creating jobs in many different industries. Everyone's working together to make it happen.
Indian languages are libraries of ancient knowledge. When a language dies, that knowledge is lost forever. Native American languages hold answers for the future. Please help us save our languages. Learn how at lewisandclark200.org.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in health care. The Jamestown S'Klallam tribe is expanding their health care clinic to meet an ever-growing community need.
Quality health care of our people, of our citizens, Indian and non-Indian alike, is essential for our future.
This new 35,000 square foot clinic will provide medical services and be open to the general public. Tribal governments are investing millions of dollars each year across our state to improve health and dental care in our communities.
That's the bottom line for us, is quality health care.
Tahoma, or Mount Rainier, has played a significant role in the spiritual and cultural lives of Washington's tribal communities for thousands of years. When Captain George Vancouver entered the Salish Sea in 1792, he named the great mountain for his friend, Rear Admiral Peter Rainier. Now an effort has begun to have the mountain's traditional name acknowledged. NWIN's Solana Booth has more.
It is the largest topographical mountain in the lower 48 states, known by many names: Tahoma, Tacobet, and Talal, meaning Mother of Waters. In 1890, the United States Board on Geographical Names declared it to be known as Rainier, fueling a 218-year-long debate.
I've always been amazed by its enormous size and its majestic being and presence, and that so it always captures your eye throughout the day. And ever since you've been born, if you live around here, you're always looking at it and watching the different cloud formations in on and around it. Maybe as a child you go up there and hike up around it, and it's kind of like still how it was the day it was created.
Welcome, Tacoma and its surrounding areas, to another edition of KLAY, Clay Radio's Tribal Talk Radio, with your host and co-host Elizabeth and Robert Tishwak Satayakam.
KLAY radio talk show host and name restoration advocate Satayakam continues to be the driving force in restoring the name Tiswak to the mountain.
The effort for Tiswak actually came from watching our grandsons. They were singing a Lushoot Seat song and drumming, and they had the regalia on, which was really awesome. And they were singing a song about the Northwest area and the Puyallups. They're singing, and all of a sudden they came up to Mount Rainier. Like a stutter in the road, and it was really kind of odd. And so we did several months of research.
In that research, I said, there has to be this one name, and so the people of authority, the chief, Peter Stanhope of the Puyallup tribe, he says, all that is Tacoma, but that is Tiswak. And this is in the records. And then there was Henry Cade in 1916, Mazamas laid at one time like Pierce County was Tiswak.
Because it was the people that lived right where the entry of the park is. That's where the people lived.
Prior to Washington State considering a name change, legislation was detrimental for the reinstatement of the Washington Committee on Geographic Names.
In our zeal of budget cutting, we cut the one committee that interfaced with the federal government to do those type of things. So that committee had to be recodified, put back in law. So I wrote the legislation. Rather than make it a standalone committee, I made it a subcommittee of the Department of Natural Resources. So now there is this subcommittee that meets approximately quarterly, and they take these requests and they evaluate the request to its validity. So if you or I wanted to change the name of something, we'd submit a request to the subcommittee, the Geographical Name Committee, and then we let the process move forward from there. And during the process, yes, we would go in and testify on why we want that. And then there'll also be individuals be there to testify why it shouldn't be that way.
Mount McKinley name changed. It got restored to Denali. And even though it's not in the maps, it's not in, but legally it is Denali. So it's not just me and Rob doing our work, but just like all of a sudden people just, it's like a worldwide awakening. So that's really kind of cool to be part of it, such an intricate system. 17 of the tribes that I've spoken to, only one of them cannot say that they back us. And that's okay, because there's like 27 other tribes that will.
If we got together on the same page and accomplished the biggest peak in the lower 48 and had that name restored to a native name, what's to stop us? What's to stop us?
Robert and Elizabeth Satayakam remain hopeful in the restoration of Tiswak. Their next project? To restore Inchiwana back to the Columbia River. For Northwest Indian News, I'm Solana Booth.
Visit NWIN.tv, where you can view every episode of Northwest Indian News on demand.
What has happened subsequent to that in terms of getting people to work together to solve the problems of our fisheries?
He is an instrumental figure who's done so much and certainly changed the course of Washington history.
You can also watch NWIN and other Native programming at kanutv.com. Coming up next, we'll visit Waterfront Park in Seattle for the 20th annual Salmon Homecoming celebration.
This is our 20th year of operation, and it's outreach to the community because one of our important efforts is to educate people about the importance of salmon.
Washington Indian tribes are investing in the environment. The Nisqually tribe has undertaken the restoration of the Nisqually River Delta.
The goal of the project is to remove all the dikes, reflood the estuary, and help bring back the salmon runs.
The Delta is a huge piece of our environmental efforts. So we feel this really deep internal desire to keep the river as well as these surrounding prairies in the best shape possible.
Our people come from this land. Our languages and cultures are reflections of its beauty. This land is a gift to all beings. It is the home we live in together. Always have respect. Join us in taking care of this land. Learn more at www.lewisandclark200.org.
Well, culture is important to the Squamish people because it's an honoring of our ancestral ways and traditions and the ways that have been part of this landscape for thousands of years. So for us, we're honoring our ancestors, and we're also building for our future generations, our youth.
You are welcome to come ashore, and yes, our culture is alive.
I couldn't be more proud of the Squamish.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in natural resources.
The main goal of the Tulalip Forestry Program is to preserve over half of our reservation in the forestry classification.
The Tulalips manage their tribal forest lands, create jobs, and also work with the U.S. Forest Service in our national forests.
We have a very unique collaborative effort here with the Tulalip tribes to restore the landscape for future generations.
Tribal stewardship of natural resources across Washington is an investment that benefits everyone.
Welcome back to Northwest Indian News. Recently, the 20th annual Salmon Homecoming celebration was held at the Seattle waterfront. The yearly event is an opportunity for tribal and non-tribal communities to come together for cultural exchanges, education, and to honor Pacific Northwest icon, the salmon. NWIN's Mike Sarich was there and brings us the story.
Now in its 20th year, the Salmon Homecoming celebration is a weekend of education, culture, and fun. Hosted by the Northwest Indian Fisheries Commission, the Seattle Aquarium, numerous Northwest tribes and local organizations, this event honors the return of the salmon and introduces local families to Native American culture.
Asiyam, we are the Nisqually people. We're Squalliops. Come a short distance today, but we do ask permission to come ashore.
The Nisqually people, Nisqually Canoe, we the Muckleshoot people welcome you here to the land of the Muckleshoot. Please come ashore and join and eat some salmon and rest.
This is our 20th year of operation, and it's outreach to the community because one of our important efforts is to educate people about the importance of salmon. Not just only for salmon's sake, but the dependence our people here in the area have on salmon and why it's important for us to all be involved in the recovery of salmon and knowing what's happening with them.
We're in a real dire situation with the depletion of the natural habitat. The runs are getting lower and lower because of problems with production. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening that they should be aware of and understand so that they could form the same type of groups that could help lobby the government to do something about it. You know, because as long as it continues to go status quo, we're just going to see the numbers of the salmon go down. And that's not where we want to be. I mean, I would like my children to eat salmon. And I would like my children's children to eat salmon, because that's part of our culture. That's part of our traditional ways. And for them to not be able to enjoy that is a shame.
The message continues to get out there, kind of like compounding your money at the bank. You know, if you tell 10 people and they tell 10 people, you know, you have made a difference. So, you know, it's like Billy Franks always says, we got to keep saying it. We can't give up this message. We're going to be here for a long time. People are going to come and people are going to go, and we're still going to be here. We got to keep that message up. And, you know, that's what Salmon Homecoming does. Every year we bring it up and we talk about it.
Even though there's a lot of money being put in to recover some of the habitat, more is being lost than we can recover. And part of our mission is to try to get that education out there.
The indigenous culture is still thriving, and that we're still in touch with our culture and our history. I think it gives a lot of people coming by here a chance to get in touch with the native culture.
To learn more about Salmon Homecoming celebration, log on to www.salmonhomecoming.org. For Northwest Indian News, I'm Mike Sarch.
I'm Carissa Peapud Ramsey, and I hope you've enjoyed the stories we brought to you today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on Northwest Indian News.